Hey, yo, I want to talk about Commander, and I need your help in answering a question for me. See, I said in this video a while back about how excited I was for the upcoming Edge of Eternities. I know the thumbnail doesn't imply excitement, but look at these numbers I grabbed on the Friday after publishing. 45,000 views is higher than I normally get on an average video in a week, and it's at a 95.8% like to dislike ratio, so I have to assume the people that watched it enjoyed it. I know a few of you commented saying that you're put off by negativity in thumbnails even if the video is positive, but I run this channel because I think it's important to spread awareness and give feedback to WotC on their shenanigans. I want what I say to be heard, and apparently you seem to like that. Or according to these numbers, I'd say that's a fair assumption to make at least. But if I actually want people to watch and listen, like they did for this one, then seemingly these kind of thumbnails is the way to go. YouTube, I don't know man, it kinda sucks. But enough of that. Jace! The reason I brought up that video is because during it I said I was sick of seeing him pop up in every single set lately, to which some of you commented saying you wanted to see a commander deck using all of these cards. Do you not know what kind of things I like to build? You can't give me a nonsense idea like an Oops All Jace commander deck. I made an entire commander variant format specifically for underpowered lore-based decks made up of flavorful jank. I mentioned this idea of a Jace commander deck to one wonderful person and they said, I mean might struggle to fit the lands, to which I replied, challenge accepted. So okay, that's what this video is. But again, anyone who watched last week's deck tech will know that I am an insane person, and if I'm going to undertake an Oops All Jace commander challenge, then I want it to be exactly that, a challenge. Meaning here, every single one of the 100 cards must relate to Jace in some way, but I want as few blue cards as possible, because it would be too easy otherwise. I'm not going to worry about synergy, basically at all, which I should probably put on a t-shirt at this point as my deck building motto. Instead, what I'm aiming for here is all flavour. And the reason I need your help is because I want you to tell me in the comments if you think I succeeded in this challenge. And guys, Jace is a slippery one, so I'll tell you now, I don't know that I have, because this deck... Oh. Well, let me put it this way, if I felt confident I'd achieved my goal with this Oops All Jace nonsense, then I wouldn't be asking for your help to judge it. There are technicalities included here. Let's begin. Right, first up, let's do the obvious and easy bit first. The actual Jace cards, because what's an Oops All Jace deck without Jace himself? There are 14 of them in total, and while yes, they're all blue, they all have the Jace subtype, so it would be madness not to include them. Some cards of note here are Jace the Mind Sculptor, because it's so iconic, Jace Unraveler of Secrets for being my personal favourite Jace card, Jace the Living Guild Pack for reasons that will become clear at the end of the video, and Jace Beleren for not just being the OG Jace, but also one of the OGs of Planeswalkers as an actual card type. Jace Vryn's Prodigy is also worth a mention because as a creature card, this could have been the deck's commander, but as you can see from its reverse Planeswalker side of Jace Telepath Unbound, it's all mono blue and so not good for today's challenge of minimising that colour's impact. Speaking of, next up is our land, which if you remember that comment said we might struggle with. But thanks to this basic island from Ixalan, we're golden. And if you're interested why this counts as a Jace card, then zoom in. And oh, see it? Wait, a little closer. Are you seeing it now? It's your boy Jace! From when he got amnesia and, as I'm sure we all would given the opportunity of a fresh start, chose to become a pirate. But as I've said, this isn't going to only be a blue deck, and luckily for us. We have a Plains, which if we magnify the art, you can see features Jace. There's a Swamp, which is a little easier to see, but there he is. There's a Mountain, which you can just about make out, but yep, that's him. And finally a Forest, and you can probably see him already, but here we go. That's him again, meaning thankfully we're going to have access to all 5 colours of mana. So, in terms of deck building, we're going to run 7 each of these basics. And thanks to that spread, the number of blue cards we already have is probably more than enough for a 5 colour deck, which considering our challenge is perfect for us. Though, as one last exception, I am going to throw in Space Beleren, which is a 15th Jace Planeswalker card. He's not mono blue, which is in part why I didn't list him with the other Jaces. Jaces? Jace? Jaceses. But also his name is Space Beleren, so I always assumed he was supposed to be another character pretending to be Jace. But he does have the Jace Planeswalker subtype, which I noticed while making this video, and now I'm not so sure. The card is from an unset, so I guess it isn't supposed to be canon, but first off, it's legal in a bunch of formats. Second, it's not silver bordered, but black bordered like a real card in quotes. Third, there's no unset acorn symbol, just a normal magic symbol. And fourth, while Jace Beleren in a space setting may seem like an obvious joke, the upcoming Edge of Eternities is exactly that, so I don't know, man. If we're not supposed to take this card seriously and just intuitively know that it's non-canon, well then WotC have really gone out of their way to make that difficult. Our next category is called... Oh, there he is, and it currently consists of 24 cards, which I think I'm going to leave to you to tell me in the comments if they have any kind of synergy at all, because I'm just here to point a big blue arrow at Jace in the art and say, oh, there he is. Starting with Avacyn's Judgment, there he is. Bonds of Mortality, there he is. Call the Gatewatch, there he is. Deliver Unto Evil, there he is. Devour in Flames, there he is. Emrakul's Influence, there he is in his very fine coat. Gatewatch Beacon, there he is, or his arm at least. Hedron Archive is an easy one because there he is. Hour of Devastation, it's a bit blurry, but there he is. Ignite the Beacon, there he is. Ixalan's Binding, there he is. Liliana's Indignation, Bucky O'Hare's other ship, there he is. This Showcase Loot the Key to Everything, there he is. Nahiri's Binding, there he is. Nissa's Zendikon, what is this 3 in a row of him in the foreground of cards named for other planeswalkers? Ugh, there he is. Omen Path Journey, there he is. Phyrexian Arena, there he is. Remorseless Punishment, be wild if he wasn't, but there he is. Storm the Citadel, there he is. Tamio's Journal, there he is. The Filigree Silex, there he is. What good words. Zendikar Resurgent, there he is. And we end with 2 double-faced Artifactor land cards, Azor's Gateway / Sanctum of the Sun, there he is. And finally, Thaumatic Compass / Spires of Orazka, there he is. I'm also going to throw in Cult Guildmage and Well of Lost Dreams into this category, taking the total to 26 cards, even though... Well, is that Jace? I mean, yes, it's clearly supposed to be Jace on Cult Guildmage, but it's also a puppet, so not Jace? There he is? But also, I don't know, should that count towards our challenge? Let me know in the comments. As for Well of Lost Dreams, if you look next to the mana symbol, there he is. But this was a secret lair and that art's not traditional for Magic cards, so... I don't know, this is why I wanted your judgment on the deck, and the includes only get more dubious as we go. However though, our next category is... That's what he said. It currently consists of 10 cards which I think are fair game for this deck because... Chandra's Outrage has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. Well, that was more difficult to say than I thought it would be. Well, too late to change it now. Chandra's Piling has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. Embalmer's Tools has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. Eternal Taskmaster has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. Gulping Scrap Trap has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. I've designed a tongue twister. Nature's Claim has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. Sky Scourer has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. Wardscale Crocodile has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. And we end with 2 non-basic land cards, Bleachblown Verge. So close. Bleachbone Verge and Drownyard Temple, both of which have a flavortext quote attributed to Jace. We got there. I think I'm just going to keep all of that in. I'm also going to throw in Seal of the Guild Pack, taking this category to 11 cards. First, because it has a flavortext quote attributed to Jace, but also, like Jace the Living Guild Pack from earlier, will become important at the end of the video. Our next category is called... I guess these count. It currently consists of 4 cards and is similar to our last category, but... Nakratal has a flavortext that mentions Jace. Pulse Tracker has a flavortext that mentions Jace. Vraska's Fall has a flavortext that mentions Jace. And we end on a land card, Foreboding Ruins, which has a flavortext that mentions Jace. These decks are a hell of my own creation. I'm also going to throw in Lavinia, Azorius Renegade, taking this category to 5 cards, because even though it has blue in it, so did Loot and Space, and it felt right to include them. Plus, this has a flavortext that mentions Jace. So yeah, given all of that, how do you feel that we're doing on this challenge now? Our next category is called Dubious at Best. It consists of 4 cards total, and while they are all non-Jace Planeswalkers, considering that we've already seen how much he loves to pull focus in cards named after other people, I feel these new ones should fit right in. Chandra Flameshaper is up first, and it's thanks to her second loyalty ability that she's in this category. Kaya Intangible Slayer is next, and it's thanks to her third loyalty ability that she's in this category. Then Nahiri the Unforgiving, and it's also thanks to her third loyalty ability that she's in this category. And Obnixilus the Adversary is last, and it's thanks to his Casualty X ability that he's in this category. Now, you'd be forgiven for not seeing the connection here, But outside of these 4 being planeswalkers, which it seems is a concept within Magic so intrinsically linked to Jace that I'm surprised to not see him in their artwork. Maybe with the actual planeswalkers stood behind him, but of course I joke. Because more importantly, all 4 of these have abilities that create copy tokens. And that means that they're able to be included as part of this deck because of Jace. This version of the token was first printed in Zendikar Rising, which was the 3rd time we'd ever seen these tokens printed. Then later in Commander Masters, this artwork was used again, and are we stretching it here? You're gonna have to let me know. Can we really say the fact these planeswalkers all create tokens that can depict Jace means that they can be added to an Oops All Jace deck? Well, I certainly hope so, because our next category is... come on now. And if you didn't like that last category, well, this one consists of 3 cards that could also create those same copy tokens that could depict Jace. Vaultborn Tyrant, and that's here because the creature couldn't have escaped the vault if Jace didn't open it, so that counts, right? Second Harvest, and that's here because this card depicts Innistrad and Jace once visited Innistrad, so that counts, right? And finally, Benthic Anomaly, and that's here because Jace, well, he wasn't responsible for the Eldrazi exactly. I mean, he didn't listen to Ugin's advice on Zendikar on how to best deal with them, but we've not really seen the consequences of Jace's actions yet, and Zendikar was saved, so I guess maybe Jace was right. But hey, at least this card also makes a token, so it technically fits in the deck. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. I included this one because I thought it would be funny. I said no more blue cards, and this does have a mono blue casting cost, but if for some reason you are as mad as I am and choose to build and play this deck in real life, then I want you to consider this card a fun gift from me, because it includes one of my favourite, almost near useless mechanics of all time. This card and all others like it have one purpose in a deck, and that purpose is so that if you're ever in the incredibly niche situation, for instance playing a deck where you've said the only mono blue cards in it are all Jace Planeswalkers, and someone points at one of these cards and says, "You forgot about that one," you get to say, "Nuh-uh, this has the Devoid mechanic, which means actually this card counts as colourless." And that's it, that's all this mechanic is good for. Best used in conjunction with All Is Dust, a board wipe that doesn't hit colourless permanents. And when someone says to you, "Oh, you didn't sacrifice that one," you get to take great pleasure in hitting them with the, "Nuh-uh, this has the Devoid mechanic." And I know that some of you out there are going to try and tell me other uses for this ability, but stop and think about how those interactions you're describing end. Because I promise it's just with you saying, "Nuh-uh, this has the Devoid mechanic, so actually it's colourless," and that's it. If you've never experienced the joy of getting to, well actually, someone over one of Magic's dumbest, most pointless, ridiculously niche, but incredibly flavourful card abilities, then I give you that gift by including this card here. Devoid is pointlessly arbitrary, and I love it so very much. Enjoy! And finally, we're at 99 cards deep, so it's time for our final category, which is, of course, our Commander. And oh boy, if you thought the rest of the deck was a stretch. Now, like I said at the start of the video, I would have loved to have run Jace Vryn's Prodigy, but it's just mono blue, and as you can probably guess, there is no Jace-themed 5-colour Commander, so... Remember how I mentioned Jace the Living Guild Pact and then Seal of the Guild Pact? Well, the Commander for our Oops All Jace deck is Niv Mizzet Guild Pact, and yeah, I know, but no, I won't be answering any questions on this choice. And that's it, that's the deck. 100 cards of nothing but Jace, I hope. Are there any cards that you feel should have been included? Does this deck have any synergies or even remotely work from a functional perspective? Did I succeed in the challenge of making a deck entirely out of Jace? Be kind and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As with all of my awful decks, you can find the full deck list on my Patreon linked in the description below if you want to build it yourself. While you're there, please check out my tiers if you'd like to help support me to bring in more videos like today's. I'm also thinking of working on some exclusive bonus content, but I'm a team of one, so finding time to actually do that is a challenge. Again, please check out my Patreon, I could really use the help. Oh, and I play Pathfinder, the tabletop RPG. I told Paizo, the company that makes that game, that I'm a Pathfinder content creator. I talked about it in this video, but I told them I make review videos, so they should send me free books. Well, they've done that. They sent me Shining Kingdoms literally today, which I haven't read yet, but it's part of their Lost Omens setting and includes a really sick map that I'm probably not allowed to show you for legal reasons. And the Treasure Vault book, which is recently remastered for 2nd edition's new rules, which they also sent literally today and I have not had the chance to read yet. I went to Paizo's website to find out how much the books would be, or even if they're available for sale yet, but as you can see their website was down for maintenance, so I don't know, I tried again later because telling you the price is the bare minimum of what a review should do, but that time their website was down entirely, so I waited for literally as long as I could before recording, and this time even the error message didn't load properly. This is obviously a bit crap from Paizo, but is it weird that I actually find it kind of endearing because I know they're not a massive company? Anyway, I read the chapter titles of Shining Kingdoms, and it seems to be all about the lore and history of that world, which is very cool. And the original Treasure Vault brought things like much needed updates to the previous edition's crafting mechanics. So I'll assume the same is true again in this remaster for the new rules. And that's my review of these two books. They look pretty good to me. If anyone asks, you can say they're Red Bobcat approved, which I'm sure you'll agree means that this counts as a review. Hey Paizo, I did it! Now please send me more free books! Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone that supports me, like Eggboy the particle that permeates all existence, Wampako Jozu, Miss Murder, a random Patreon, and the rest of my patrons whose names are on screen now. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for this video, me and my Patreon page, where you can get your name credited on screen too. I'd have included a link to those Paizo books, but the website doesn't work. I don't know what to do. But check out my Patreon, linked in the description below. Hit the like button, leave a comment, install an adblock, and most importantly, subscribe and share this video with a friend. Hit the notification bell and do all those things the algorithm loves. If you agree or disagree with any of my points, or if you want to see me do a video on another subject, or more dumb decks, then let me know and I will see you next time. And if I'm going to undertake an Oopsoo Jace... And if I'm going to undertake an Oopsoo... Oops. And if I'm going to undertake an Oops... And if I'm going to undertake an Oopsoo Jace Commander challenge, then I want it to be exactly that. And finally, Thematic Compass / Spires of Orazaka. There he is. Am I going to keep that take? We'll do it again for safety, just to be on the safe side. Maybe this is in the credits. And finally, Thematic Compass / Spires of Orazaka. There he is. Orazka. And finally, Thematic Compass / Spires of Orazka. There he is. I'm surprised given how long I've been doing this, and I do read and try to reply to as many comments as possible. But I'm surprised that no one's accused me of being AI, and then I think, oh, maybe it's because I'm sort of shit. Maybe that's why. They're like, no, a robot couldn't have done that. A robot can spell.